Tropical Storm Jerry now nearing the Leeward Islands here on our Thursday morning, heading into the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Robert Spett, always trying to give you the latest information here. No hype, just the facts, what we're expecting here as we track the tropics. And, who's tracking the tropics right now? Of course, it's the hurricane hunters. They're also flying around out here. And they actually just picked up a wind estimation about 63 miles per hour. So it really does confirm up what the NHC is saying with the latest update here on Jerry, that estimation of 65 mile per hour winds. One thing that is kind of interesting, though, is the low-level center of this is just on the northern periphery of kind of a lot of this convection. So even though we have tropical storm watches, in place already just ahead of this, I think really a good portion of the Windward Islands is going to kind of feel impacts from this due to that outflow and some of these outer rain bands on the southern periphery. So it's one reason why you don't always just pay attention to the center line of these storms. You want to look closer at kind of the broader impacts from it. So you see here, it's going to pass just towards the north, but staying a tropical storm. But like I mentioned, a good burst of convection here just south of that center line before it heads just northeast to Puerto Rico and kind of heads off towards north, staying towards the east of Bermuda. As mentioned, though, Antigua and Barbuda here are under tropical storm watches at this time. But even down towards the south, like Martinique, St. Lucia, you're going to be just close enough where at least getting a good burst of convection with some of these showers and thunderstorms coming out of it. It's not going to be a full-on hurricane by any means, but for any boaters in that area, I'm sure they'll be holding on. Hopefully they're taking shelter on the lee side of some of these islands. Look at the spaghetti plots, though, showing this move off towards the north. So really no chance of it moving further towards the west, towards the east coast. We do have a separate low that's going to be developing. And that's going to be a classic nor'easter, not really a tropical system per se, but there will be some kind of tropical characteristics with it. In fact, I expect a bit of, it's not going to be a surge, but definitely very high tides, especially on Saturday afternoon. And according to the local National Weather Service office, we're only going to be a foot or two below the highest water marks during like Nicole. So that just kind of shows places in St. Augustine could be looking at some high water levels, as well as along the St. Johns River and some of those classic flood prone spots during your king tide. But you combine that with the consistent onshore wind and passing showers, especially east of I-95, it's going to feel at the very least like some tropical kind of coastal impact out there. And you can see here, this is 10:30 in the morning on Saturday. Look at those coastal winds, 20, 35 miles per hour. And then this moves off towards the north and even impacts places like the Outer Banks. So yeah, there's it's not tropical, but I think it deserves our attention just as much. Meanwhile, off towards the west, just on the Baja California, Priscilla is there. Priscilla is now a tropical storm, continuing the weekend out. No worries there. And then you have Halong off the coast of Japan. This actually brought 198 kilometer per hour winds to parts of the Izu Islands. That's just south of Tokyo. Pretty rough weather for them out there. But now that's weakening, moving off towards the east. I'm actually going to have something later on today about this because this actually is going to trigger maybe a bit of a colder air spilling in across the United States in about a week and a half. It's kind of interesting the way the dynamics lay out with that. So I'll talk more about that coming up later today. But of course, if you want more information, check out firstcoastnews.com/Hurricane Central.